Welcome to Experience.This.Travel show. We are in season 4, and this is episode 2. Really excited to have Mike Petrakis.
Nice job, Petrakis.
Petrakis. Okay, cool. CEO of Batch with us today. Yes, and this is a big day for me. It's my last day with Go City, and moving on into my consulting business. So you'll hear me introduce myself as with Insightful International. So that's going to change, or that's a change for me. Christian?
Yeah, Christian with Magpie. Fresh back from Fitur last week, Fitur in Madrid. I was waiting for another announcement there, Laurie. You got nothing to say who you're working with, or we don't know yet?
Well,
maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, not quite. Want to. I'm going to be doing a variety of projects. Let's put it that way. So yeah, maybe we'll leave it there for now. But yeah.
And Mike, can you give us a quick intro? Let us know where you're calling in from, what you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll.
Sure. Mike Petrakis, founder and CEO of Batch, calling in from San Diego. Typically Philadelphia, as discussed, enjoying San Diego weather for now. Batch is an app to help people plan celebrations from start to finish. And we also help the businesses that cater towards those celebrations grow.
That's okay. And it seems like there's way more to it than that, but I guess we'll dig in as we start talking. So Batch, did that originally, so I know you do a ton of bachelorette parties and bachelor. I think that was what is yes. That how it sort of first started, and is that why or how you got the name Batch?
Yeah, so we started in 2020 in January. So we launched our app as a planning tool to plan a bachelor and bachelorette celebration with your friends. I looked at this business because I was thinking about group travel. I had started 2 e-commerce companies and bought a gym prior to Batch. And I've done lots of early stage, more focus on like growing small businesses from 0 to 1. I wanted to take a venture bet in the group travel space, and bachelor and bachelorette parties made the most sense to start niche first and expand from there. So I was hoping that we'd get both bachelor and bachelorette, but type A bachelorette parties just took over, and we went from 0 to 100,000 users in our first 3 months, which kind of gave me enough confidence to not shut the company down the moment that March 10th happened of 2020, with COVID. So explosive start with the bachelorette segment. Now we cater towards all celebrations, but there's 5 years of data I can speak to in between.
Why do you focus on bachelorette? How much do they spend versus the guys?
Yeah, $10,800 per party versus guys are spending $11,700. So guys spend a little more.
Good data. Wow.
Yeah.
Would you have guessed that, Laurie?
I never did. I never did any of that stuff.
Well,
no.
I'll give you a fun fact.
It was like, well, years ago, it was like you would take your friend to, a strip club, or you'd do something like that. It was a one-night thing. Everybody partied, and then everyone went home. And now it's not just that you're going away before the wedding, but the wedding is somewhere that's away.
Oh, for sure.
So like, how much money are people spending? And that's actually something I wanted to ask you. What are people spending on these bachelorette parties?
Oh, all of their money on travel and experiences. I mean, I think that's why we're in the businesses that we all are, right? I mean, people value experiences over things. I think of that $10,800 spend, let's say it's between flights, the short-term rental, the experiences, and then the dining and discretionary spend, right? And all of that is basically evenly broken down, like $3,000 to $4,000 on flights, $3,000 for the house, $3,000 for the experience. It's kind of, that's like how we thought about the spend. And we started with monetizing experiences first because we felt like, actually, it's a funny story. When COVID happened and we had all those users, we looked at itinerary data because our app helps people plan, right? So they log itinerary data, chat information, expense information. and we said, wow, people really love party buses in Nashville. And like, they really love these like yacht charters in Miami and like private chefs and hibachi chef companies. So we said, all right, well, like Viator, Go City, Get Your Guide exist that like cater towards global tourism. Let's focus on like party and like the celebration economy, right? So let's focus on like nailing these really small businesses that cater towards people partying with their friends and tie that together into a marketplace.
And was this chicken? I get the feeling there's a bigger play here. So was it just that the bachelorette parties were the easiest go to market for you,
Yeah.
and this will develop into a much broader?
Yes. Play? Yeah. So basically, well, here's a fun fact though. So last year, 23,000 parties, bachelorette parties, went to Nashville. Do the $10,800 times 23,000, and it's a big number, right? So like every time that somebody's like bachelorette parties, that's stupid. It's like
you're like,
real numbers, you know. So, wow. But I was ambitious in fall of 2023. My goal was always to be the go-to celebrations platform, right? Any celebration with any of your friends. So we just did a quick rebrand, and frankly, we're still mostly bachelorette and birthday, but like we changed the name. Silly change, BACH to BATCH for all of your party plans in one place. Now we're about 40% bachelorette, 40% birthday, and then 20% costume parties, bachelor parties, divorce parties, Friendsgiving, like all sorts of random stuff.
Why isn't a wedding in that? Shouldn't that be isn't the wedding the easy upsell?
Oh, the wedding is not easy.
I mean, this is all happening beforehand. You would think that we would have gotten our act together to bring weddings in. I think honeymoons are interesting too, but we just have really I think the reason why we've been, a little bit like marginally successful thus far is like, hey, we've been able to figure out that niche first wins, right? So if I were to start doing weddings and honeymoons, like I don't want to do that yet. I want to own the celebration economy.
And also, I think there's a lot of companies out there that do specialize in that, right? They know the wedding, they know that scene. I mean, that's a pretty complicated scene to get into, if you ask me. But but I would love to hear kind of the process, because when I was looking into Batch a little bit further, it sounds like, you've got sort of this whole kind of payment split situation. So you've got a group and you can potentially split out the payments, or, there's just certain features that you have that are ideal for, let's say, a group of women or men or whatever that are kind of all coming together to go somewhere. So can you maybe talk about the process from booking to, showing up in Nashville or wherever, and how does that work?
Yeah. And relative towards, sure. So basically a party starts by somebody gets engaged over the holidays, and then they say, oh, I want to go to Nashville for my bachelorette party, and I'm based in Chicago. Like that's our most popular flight route, as an example. And I can tell you everything that they do on that trip, basically like rinse and repeat by the book, but they'll invite their friends for the first step. They'll kick off the planning process 6 months in advance of the actual party taking place. So in that 6 months, Batch gets a ton of data to see what exactly is going to happen on this trip. So by month 3, they have booked their flights. By month 4, they have booked their short-term rental. And then 1 to 2 months ahead of the party, they're booking experiences and dining reservations. So that's how the whole thing works. It's about a 120-day process. We see this happen in about 110,000 parties a year.
And so when you are a group and you talk about, some of the features that you have, like how do you manage that payment process? I mean, do they each pay you separately, or is it like they are? Okay, so you're setting it.
So basically, Batch, so there's 10 people in a bachelorette party. That's what makes up that $10,000 800 spend that we talked about, right? So basically, when the lead user is either the maid of honor or sometimes the bride, right? That's the person that invites their friends to the party. And that's frankly how the economics of the business makes sense, because they invite their friends. You invite 8 people for every lead user you get, right? So all of those users who are joiners, they chat about what they're doing and where they're going to stay in our chat feature. They poll and figure out which house or which experiences they want to do by literally hosting a voting poll like Doodle that's built into Batch. When everybody says, well, what time are we going to XYZ? It's on the itinerary. What's the address of the house? It's on the itinerary. What flights is everybody booking? It's on the itinerary. So that's the most useful feature for Batch, because it's the most annoying question for group travel is like, what are we doing for XYZ? And then the expense splitting is just a ledger. It's just an easy way to keep track of spending, because the biggest pain point that we found was actually the discretionary stuff. Where somebody's like, I got this round of drinks at the bar, and it's like, they'll just log it on the expense feature. Like they will open the app on a Saturday night and just put the number that was the bar tab on the expense feature. So they log all this stuff, and then it deep links to Venmo to kick it out to split the expense later.
Okay, wow. So there's a lot going on there. You've got a expense feature, you've got a chat feature, you've got a poll feature that people use to determine what it is. What else am I missing?
Invite your friends, RSVP, party homepage, and then you chat to figure out what you want to do and poll, and then you put it on an itinerary. And then once everything is set and you go on your trip, you split up the expenses. That's the flow.
And what do you think that you've built that can be utilized by other businesses that might be interested in groups, for instance?
I mean, I can get into like how we monetize the business and who we work with, if helpful. Next. Like, do we feel like we have the consumer side down? Because it's pretty interesting, and there's a lot of interesting information that we learn. But the most attractive thing is predictive demand for businesses, right? We see where parties are going 6 months in advance of their party, and we see what market trends are happening, and like what categories are going to pop off, and what cities are going to become more popular. Basically between January and March, we know what's going to happen this summer.
The part makes me think about the sort of broader is like the multi-day space, right? That's obviously a huge established, it's a whole industry. They all need this. They need a version of this, right? Maybe the payment thing's different with multi-day. And then, this is a different question, and I feel like a lot of companies have tried this, and I get annoyed with people that say, "Oh, this has been tried before, therefore it's not going to work." Because I think it's about timing, and it's about maybe the Bachelorette was the way into this, and that's why you've been successful. And the other company started with some corporate group thing which didn't work. But I guess where do you see this going into those other verticals or sectors, whatever you want to call them?
I mean, group travel is a pain in the ass, and a lot of people. I remember being at Focusrite, and the Viator founder was like, "If somebody pitches me on another planning app, I'm going to freak out," And I'm just sitting there like, we have a group travel app that has 3 million users, So like, I think we've been successful because we nailed the pain points behind coordinating a party and started niche first. Like that is all. Like that's the only reason why. And the features that are the most successful, to just give it away, is RSVP and itinerary. If you can just have a homepage to see the party planning details and an itinerary to see everything that's going on at the party, that solves a lot of your problems.
I mean, I could completely see using this for my family get together in September.
Sure.
100%. It would be amazing to have an expense tracker. It would be amazing to have, who's coming and when's everybody showing up. I mean, this right now, it's just this constant texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And it would be awesome to have an app that we could all just kind of use to keep track of everything. Yeah. So, and that's even without you planning it, right? It's without you saying, oh, well, here I'm selling you this hotel, or I'm selling you these experiences, although the experiences would be cool to have that be a part of it. But just to have a tracker of sorts that can, and then in a communication tool. So that alone is something that seems like it would be valuable. Um, what's interesting to me as well is I think I read that you do not work with, so when it comes to suppliers that you're working with,
Mhm.
you're not necessarily dealing with them on a commission basis, but more a subscription basis. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Sure. I want to give you one more plug for why you should do this for your family trip. I just did it in Costa Rica real quick, 12 people. Every time that I needed somebody to be somewhere, you could actually enable and send every time you send a push notification in the chat feature, it sends a push notification to everybody's phone. So if I needed anything at any point, I love the fact that we have push notifications for any occasion. This came in, we saw a 500, again, not targeting weddings, but last year there was a 550 person wedding that was planned on batch. And it was because of push notifications, like, because you could just wrangle everybody each step of the way through planning the wedding and where to be at the wedding. Just a fun
So,
fact.
so if it was planned, how was it planned on batch if they weren't necessarily working with you? You can just
Yeah.
create an account and
People plan stuff in Europe and Africa, and we just don't make any money off of it. Like 50% of our app users are not in any of our cities.
really?
Yeah.
Well,
But
that also gives you a good
massive
indication.
weekend. What's that?
I mean, that tells you where you need to be.
Exactly. It's a massive lead gen tool. It's how we were able to build this into a business.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about your subscription.
Yeah. So look, and this is timely. I was going to shout out Bruce on this, but we started as a commission marketplace business like everybody else, like experience, like monetizing experiences that we're catering towards these parties, party buses, party boats, hibachi chef companies, lots of businesses across the country. And basically, we felt like over time, you're just jamming in marketing spend to drive these bookings to partners. And you're like, this sucks because it's a sugar high for both of us. It's like, hey, partner, you got a booking because of batch. And like, hey, we just spent a bunch of money on user acquisition to drive a booking. None of that built our brand. Like, we did this for 3 years. We scaled it. We were doing well in terms of like venture funded business growing over 100% a year. But when I looked at the end state of this, and I was like, okay, we have people from the board of Get Your Guide, like on our board that are from Get Your Guide and Airbnb. I just really didn't want to build a business that was going to need to raise $1 billion to just compete for #1 spot on Google. So, and Christian, I was looking at your business prior to this call, and like, it's similar in terms of the direction that we're going, where we're just like, there are better ways to add value to build brand for these businesses than just injecting meta spend to drive a booking. And so for us, over 3 or 4 years of building a marketplace, the biggest giveaway was, if you have UGC for your business in any capacity, it's going to convert 5x higher than not having UGC. So we were like, wait a second. And the top performers on batch are basically franchises. They're ones that like get a ton of content for their business. They launch multiple experiences on batch. They launch multiple cities on batch. And we just said, wait a second, like Brian from Crawl, Nelson from Cabana Boys, like Grant from Honky Tonk, like all these businesses have scaled on batch, right? And we're like, let's just build a product or an offering that basically helps everybody have the same opportunity to be successful and grow that they do. So that's essentially, we took the learnings from the marketplace and the top performers and put it into an offering.
So how does the economics work? I've got a hop on, hop off bus company in Nashville.
Yeah.
I bet they hate bachelorette parties, but having an open top bus, alcohol is not a good thing. But how does it work? I've got the bus company. I go into batch. How does the economics work?
Yeah. The bus pays, let's take a party bus that actually likes bachelorette parties, if you're okay with that. So you pay $200 a month, and your average order for your bus is like $600 a month or something like that. So like, get a booking or two, and that's like effectively, evens out versus if we took a commission. And then you get all these like cherries on top that actually help grow. The key is you actually have to take advantage of these tools. Like we can give you the tools, but you actually have to do something about it. So the offering that literally launched last week is the ability to get UGC for the party bus business via QR code that we stamp and incentivize people, whether or not they booked on Batch. We actually give people a QR code to scan in, and we turn that content into an asset library that distributes and auto uploads to Batch's experience pages as well as to your website. And we actually can turn that via features that we built into like Instagram Reels and TikTok Reels and stuff. It's like really cool. And I think, Christian, up your alley, that was one of the 4 features that we built to go to market to help businesses. Because again, UGC drives 5x conversion. So we were like, let's nail getting UGC for these guys.
Absolutely. UGC. I mean, my God, bachelorette party.
They love it. They love it.
It's got to be everywhere, right? Like it almost reminds me a little bit of, Justin Buzzy, Get Up and Go Kayaking. I mean, his UGC is like off the charts. But when I was thinking about this earlier, I was thinking, man, I got to believe that it's just insane in terms of, yeah.
But UGC aside, if I'm spending 200 a month, if I'm getting 2 bookings, we're probably even. If I'm getting 10, aren't you leaving money on the table?
Yeah.
And you're fine with leaving the money, or you'll maybe monetize that later?
I see if you're doing well, I turn you into the franchise model. I like we then say, all right, we're going to go to a higher fee, or we do a mix of higher fee and commission, and we start really ramping it. And that's what we did with Crawl and Cabana Boys and a couple others.
Okay.
Our job, like it's natural dynamics where you're like, you want to find the outperformers. Like you get everybody into Batch and the supplier base, and then you find the ones that have a lot of potential. Another example is Giggle Sticks Penis Waffles. Never imagined that company would, same with Brittany, the owner. I never imagined that she would do well. And her first year, she got like, I want to say 150,000 in bookings on Batch, and like had a problem, like needed to hire employees and needed to figure out how to fulfill these things, So like we're in the business of like trying to create, like in the star making business in the ideal world.
So, Mike, talk a little bit about, how you're getting business. So as I understand it, you have sort of a direct model where, you're obviously bookings are coming direct to you, but then you also have a link out model, or excuse me. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the difference between those two.
Yeah. It's like just a matter of how much of a pain in the ass it is for the partner. Like we monetize by charging a monthly fee. And like in doing that, you kind of turn the whole experience travel industry on its head, because you're like, but you don't care for the commission, right? And you don't care to get the booking. Isn't that a huge mistake? And like, my job is to promote the business and be an online billboard. I don't care if the partner gets the booking, the CRM, building their brand is all great stuff to me. I actually want the partner's business name on our site. I want to be able to pass them the customer information directly. And I want to be able to be like very transparent with how we work with companies. So the bookings at this point, like we want to drive bookings to show our value, but we're also showing our value through the offering that we built on top. Right.
So you get the customer, but you're passing along the customer email and information to the supplier?
Yes. It's the fight of direct OTA, and we are on direct.
Know that?
What's that?
Does the customer know that their information is going to the supplier?
Not only that, turns out they prefer it. Meaning when we have done a lot of surveying, we've done a lot of circumvention studies in our top cities. And once we came back after talking to hundreds of users and hundreds of partners about, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? A booking platform? Or like, do you want to turn this into something that could be more interesting? And partners want the booking directly to them. They want to be able to build their own brand and want to be able to be promoted directly. Users are looking for the best deal and trust. Batch can build trust, But the best signal of trust is just know who you're booking with, right? So it turns out that that's what both sides wanted the whole time, and we were trying to fight it.
And what about your acquisition? What's your, I imagine a lot of it's organic, but how much of it are you paying
Yeah.
Google or others, or maybe socials?
Yeah, we do 30%, 30 to 40% of our spend or of our acquisition is through paid in some capacity. But that's kind of got an asterisk on it because there's some cool stuff that we're doing with content creation and stuff. But 60 to 70% is organic, and that's just because of the invite flywheel. That's like why this business makes sense, because one user invites their friends.
Yeah, I like that. Of course, I've got to talk about AI, but obviously you have to run fast now, right? Because regardless of what you're going to tell me about the development and this and that, you know that I can vibe code this in a weekend, but that doesn't give me distribution.
Yeah.
Which makes me think you got to run fast before there's another 10 copycats, right? That grab different pieces of distribution around you.
On business side or consumer side?
But if I'm a startup today, I can build lots of platforms, right? Really, really quickly and easily, and with all the features and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to happen. That will start competing for the consumer. But you've got to lead, obviously, over any of these startups, and you understand the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have niche first. I have a lot of data about, a couple of million users that are going on these celebrations. And then what we are attempting to do is, for every supplier that we bring into batch, this is like early days, but I see this happening in 6 to 12 months from now. If for every supplier that comes into batch, that supplier can bring in 10 users or 100 users, that is my end state that I am trying to work towards. That would be really cool. Because like consumer side, anybody can build a travel app. JetBlue literally built a direct version of Batch 4 years ago and failed. And like, that was after I pitched JetBlue to invest in Batch. Anybody can do this, like not concerned about the consumer side. It's just, how do you acquire customers at scale effectively as you ramp from 2,000 partners or 3,000 partners to 30,000 partners paying you a fee. Sure, the SaaS product is nice, but they'll also want audience to pull into their business as well, right? So our whole thing is, how can we leverage these features that we have built, like content creators, access to content creators, co-marketing opportunities, UGC collection, and turn that into a way to actually build our own audience in the meantime. That's what I'm trying to do.
So how are your suppliers bringing you business? Like, how are you, I mean, other than just their brands, how are you going to get suppliers to bring you business?
Yeah, meaning like business in this case, let's assume is audience. So if we build a UGC collection, we built the UGC collection tool. So right now, it says network is struggling. Hopefully I'm good. Right now, somebody submits content for Justin's kayak tour. Let's say there's a QR code that lives on Justin's kayak, right? That is like, submit your content for a chance to win. We're literally giving away a private jet in a couple months. It'll be like, enter a chance to win a PJ trip on your next party. Say they submit that content from Justin's business, whether or not the booking actually took place on Batch, we get the content, we get the user information, right? Do this thousands of times over thousands of partners who are getting content every single day. That's actually a massive user acquisition engine for us.
Yeah,
Again,
it's a good
like
flywheel.
5 years to get all of this dialed, but it's coming together nicely.
Yeah, I like the flywheel of social tied into it, because it seems like social seems like it's here, it's fairly sticky, maybe it's peaked, but it's gonna stick at a high level, and I think that's a good place. And it's somewhat insulated from AI discovery mess that's happening over there, right?
Right. I mean, the AI slop version is like, every partner that joins Batch gets 10 articles written about them that we write, and just lives on Batch and audience. But like, that's not as attractive as actual UGC.
Hmm. So, your algorithm, does it, how does it deal with kind of who floats to the top? Is it just all based on, kind of who's buying and conversion? Or if somebody's paying you more money, are they getting floated to the top more?
No, I mean, party pros have their own dedicated category. So, like, I guess that is more money, but it's really, those guys are validated party pros. Like we know that they provide a great experience to our users. That's why they are first. Everybody else, which is 90% of the marketplace, is actually just on popularity algorithms that, and bookings is one of those things. But since it's impressions, since we have a way to book direct with the partner or we have our own bookable, that does not matter with our algorithm. What matters is how well this resonates with users. And that's determined by impressions and views and UGC and ratings and reviews. So again, kind of contrarian to the market, but that's, again, if you're talking about what matters to users, is it cool? Does it look good? Does it resonate?
Yeah. What about how do you sort of differentiate between your trips? So obviously you've got some bachelorettes that are going to have more money to spend, and you've got some that might be on more of a budget. Do you have any kind of differentiation, like a premium access or something that is more of a luxury experience, so to speak?
People can book whatever they want. I mean, we have different meaning we don't have dedicated tiers where we're like, hey, do you want to ball out and book a yacht and a private jet for your trip? No, it's like, if you want to go to Miami, you can book the $40, and be a passenger on a boat, or you can book the yacht for $4,000. It's up to you. We just give you those options.
Okay, so it's not like you're categorizing, sort of a premium option. It's just essentially what people are interested in, and that's how it goes.
And we are focused on America. Like, we are focused on people just having a good time with their friends and not really focused on a super premium customer.
Did you watch the Brian Chesky, the Airbnb launch last May when they relaunched services and experiences?
Of course I did.
So he spoke. That always cracks me up talking about it, because what he launched wasn't what he launched. I don't know if he didn't know what he launched, but he talks about community, right? And about the pre-app community and messaging, and you meet the friend on the Airbnb experience, and then you go and stay with them in Rome, and then you go and do a cooking thing and you meet the cook and all this stuff. And I'm like, you guys haven't actually built that. But I do think that's an interesting part of it, right? The community around the trip. But your guests already have a community. They're already friends. They've already got a community. But do you see that part evolving? And is that an interesting place? There's almost like it's not a social network, but it's a community part of travel.
Oh, I'll give you a sneak peek. The fact that we're not sharing our information more publicly is stupid. Like, every month we have 30,000 itinerary events created, right? Why the hell aren't we doing that with the top Nashville itineraries created every month, publishing it so that it sits on the app where other people can book the same exact itinerary? Like, that's certainly part of our roadmap. Yeah.
So
we're trying to make it super easy for people to plan stuff from start to finish. The best way to do that is just see what other people are doing.
But you're not necessarily thinking about like building a community option, or because your groups are coming, they're groups, so they're coming together. They already have their community, as Christian said. But you're not thinking about, is there any kind of, there's no sort of play for individual travelers, in other words, that want community. It's all about pre-formed communities coming to you, and that's kind of where you sit right now, and you're not looking at changing that.
The only way I see us building, I think it's like surface data for consumers to figure out what to do with their friends for their own trip easier. And then on the partner side, we certainly will be building community. I mean, one of our other tools that we just launched was partners being able to co-market with other partners, right? And that's the best part about our model of this fee versus commission thing, it's like formerly we'd be like, don't go around us, don't learn how to market your business with other people. Now we're like, go talk to each other and get Cabana Boy on a party boat, like co-host these things. It's awesome. So
Well,
like,
you have that information because your customers are buying like they're buying bundles of things, right? So you already know, like, the people that do the boat also like to do this, also like to do that, and I could see why the co-marketing thing could be like a natural fit because of that reason. Is that So is that kind of where you sit with it, where you say, okay, well, these guys already bundle, they're pretty much part of a bundle, and I'm just going to tell them that?
Yeah, Brian Chesky's trying to build all these tools to like fulfill some big vision. We just have to surface data. Like that's all. We already have the information of exactly what people are doing for all of these weekends. We just have to surface it for customers to plan easier and for partners to co-market better. If they see that somebody's going to happy hour near their boat dock, we should be able to send a push notification to book the damn boat after, right? And give them a deal.
The part I like about the Airbnb stuff that they're not doing is the community stuff, and I always think about people say AI is not going to grow the pie of travel because it's finite, and whether you book it here, if you're not booking it here, you're going to book it there. I always like to say, well, I think that it's all the trips that are not booked because it's complicated to book trips. And whenever you're at the local barbecue, someone says, let's do something next weekend. If someone actually just gets up and does it and books something, people will go along. But everyone knows it's a hassle, and anyway, point being behind that is the community I was asking about, these people that have already booked a trip, are you not keeping them within the platform to book their annual follow-up trip?
Every single person. Yeah, I mean, every person, maybe I'm not thinking about community effectively, but like every person that goes on a trip gets like discount codes and offers to book their next trip on Batch. And like we have our best repeat function is bachelorette party comes in first, and then the joiners and the creator from that party go start birthdays or girls trips. That's like a very popular, like we have proven that connection at this point.
Yeah, that's good.
What are some of the other demographics that you're going after, like outside of, so you mentioned birthday parties. What about, obviously bachelorettes kind of are in a certain age group, or is there any kind of opportunity out there for sort of multi-generational or family gatherings or, that kind of thing?
Of course there is, but it's all about focus, right? Like,
yeah.
Bachelorette parties going and starting more girls trips and birthdays, and I'm a happy camper. And then we can go do birthdays. What do you need for birthdays? Probably more restaurants on Batch and back bars to rent out. New York City is like a huge market for birthdays, but not for bachelorette parties, right? And then what? Short-term rentals. Why? Because bachelor parties want to just book the house and figure out what they want to do later, so.
Well, Batch days, why don't you talk about that? Batch days.
It's just early days, right? Like we have experience, like it's product market fit on each consumer and supply side. We have really strong product market fit for bachelorettes going on experiences. We are testing product market fit and starting to scale short-term rentals because of bachelor parties and because bachelorette parties, of course, but like that's the most requested thing for bachelors. They're like, party buses are cool. We just want a really sick house. Like that's literally what they tell us, right? and then
sick house. That sounds like something my 30-year-old son would say.
Yeah, and that's like same with birthdays. It's like experiences are cool. We just want a restaurant, like private dining reservation. So we're doing all of this stuff sequentially. The majority of our focus is experiences, bread and butter, but I'd say 20% of our attention is on dining and short-term rentals because that's what's next.
So in terms of keeping your suppliers, do you have or do you need any kind of guardrails around behavior, conduct? Like, do you ever get into a situation where this stuff just goes out of control? The next thing you know,
every one of them. every single booking. Get
I
the
mean, I'm
control.
just thinking
Yeah.
about
What are you
like
talking about?
obviously the guy or the woman that owns the party bus is used to that stuff, right? They don't have a problem with it. But is there an arena that you just have to stay away from because of the audience that you're serving?
No, I mean, we like, no, because the people that are, the businesses that we appeal to are already having these types of parties, right? They already know what it's like. Airbnb tries to ban, bachelorette parties and bachelor parties, and we're like, please come this way. All of our all of the houses that are like, oh, Airbnb doesn't want our house because it's so bachelorette driven. We're like, great. Like Scottsdale, there are houses in Scottsdale that are literally built for bachelorette parties. Like it's the best thing, right?
How does that
So,
work? What do they have, like walls you can't, break down? Or I mean,
no,
what
even it's actually even it's smart. It's like every room has a hair dryer. Every room has there's like communal space for people to hang out. There's like games and stuff for game night, like pajama parties. Like there's a pool that is like Instagrammable in a beautiful backyard. Like it's actually really thoughtful the way they've handled this stuff.
We
That'd be
used to do pub crawls for a while. We did pub crawls on the double-decker buses, and then they were just every one of them was just too wild. So then I said, well, let's just do like the more locals, and we do like the kids, like the parents, the school parents night and stuff. And then quickly I realized that it doesn't matter who you are. They could be like your best friend. After like a few drinks or a few beers, everyone's the same. Everyone's throwing stuff off the bus, and there's just no way to control people.
We
With
had one party bus that had a naked customer on Broadway and like flashing everybody on Broadway. And I think that was the only crazy one I heard in the past like 6 to 12 months.
Come on, you paid that person for the
Yeah, we actually wrapped the
viral
party
video.
bus with our branding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about this whole movement towards kind of sober curious? Have you given any consideration to that in terms of your offerings?
Yeah, I mean, as a guy who started a party app, I don't drink that much. I think, wellness is very popular for us. It has been actually for the past 2 years. That's what I've said. Like when I said the trend spotting thing, think about it. Like if we're seeing stuff 6 months in advance, like the wellness thing, we saw 2 or 3 years ago because we saw people going to like Tampa and Sarasota and Fort Myers instead of Miami. And we saw that like people would book yoga to come to the house and like meditation and sound baths. Like Live from Love Collective has like basically franchised out her business with Batch because she has 30 locations or something, and it's all yoga, meditation, group classes, sound baths, and I think that's not going anywhere.
I'm always surprised with these niche businesses. It makes me think of like the gift card business. So in the UK, there's these massive gift card businesses, right? Australia, the same. In America, I don't even know I don't know what we have over here. Nothing's really happened. But
Yeah.
are there batches in Europe? Are there niches that are doing the same thing? And or have you not even looked because you got such a big market, it doesn't matter?
No, yeah, we're just so focused. We just hit 100 markets, fun fact, and it's all in North America. So like we don't have much interest going international, like over to Europe at this point. I'd say most similar companies that we see are more often just service companies, like bachelorette planning service companies, not necessarily technology.
Yeah, I feel like you got a massive market. There's no need for that. One time I went to I was at WTM, and I thought I'd go away for the weekend afterwards just to get WTM's in London. I'm not sure if you've been there in November. I thought I'd take a weekend off and I'd go and do some like culture. So I went to Krakow in Poland, and I got the Ryanair flight on like a Friday afternoon from like Manchester or something. And you walk on the plane and it's just chaos. It's only bachelor and bachelorette parties going to Krakow. And I realized that it wasn't a cultural city on that weekend. It was just people.
I can tell you same exact thing. Like we have flight patterns too, right? Because people will log the airline and the flight number. So I can tell you, like, don't be on the Thursday, the Thursday morning flight to Nashville from Chicago on Southwest. Don't do it. Like,
Right.
it's going to be a shit show.
So, Mike, what's your biggest blocker to growth right now?
We're growing really well. I mean, we had a big year. We grew 3x year over year last year, and this year I'm trying to do the same thing. The biggest, let me think. I really want to connect the dots to what I told you, where like a partner comes into Batch and brings in demand. I think that would be like amazing for growth and unit economics, because I see us being profitable later this year, and it would be really cool if there's no need to raise additional funds because you figured out how to connect the dots effectively. That's like my secret goal that I just shared publicly.
What have you raised so far?
33 million.
So what was the last round?
We've actually not raised externally in 2 or 3 years. I think our investors like us, and they've been like, we'll take you out to market when you're ready, and we're going to fund you in the meantime. And I'm like, great, that sounds good.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What was your last announced round?
2022, Series A, 9 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
it's been great. We have a good set of investors, and they're behind all the dating app companies, and they've been very helpful with the consumer side of the business. And then we just have like more traditional VCs that are like that have helped out with the model transition from marketplace to SaaS.
Yeah.
So if I'm a consumer, what should I be looking for from you guys in 2026? You mentioned, your own kind of hope in terms of distribution and gaining ground from that point of view. But what about from a customer facing point of view? Is there something coming down the pike that?
There's so much work to do on consumer still. I think publishing itineraries is like a very easy, like, what do I want in 2026? It's like easier to onboard and download and onboard on Batch. Without getting too specific, there's a lot of work to do in just the first couple things you see on Batch. And then I would say sharing information more publicly to be more valuable to users, right? So for me, that's like sharing itineraries is an easy first step, Number 2, actually, I'll give you another one. With our party pros, I actually see an opportunity to basically like have a full-time person dedicated towards like running their annual marketing calendar with Batch. And that's like putting content creators out for them, putting them on sale, introducing them to other partners for marketing partnerships. And like, I think that's a great value add to users, because remember, we don't take commission. So like, there is an element of like Groupon that we start to like play with when we think like, if partners want to go on sale, they're welcome to do it at any time, right? And that 10 or 20% off goes directly to the customer. Batch makes none of that, right? So like, I think there's potentially a discount play here. My partner is not down with cheapening the brand that we've built, but I'm all about like, give the people what they want, give the businesses what they want.
Interesting.
There's a lot of people fight discounts, but a discount, it is what you want it to be. There's a lot of distressed inventory out there, and you're getting a deal. I think it's a good place to play.
Especially for these types of parties, and especially if you want bachelor parties. So that's on my mind. And I think packaging stuff would be my last comment, by the way. It's like just packaging house, services, experiences all in one place.
Yeah. So I think we're running out of time. Kristen, is there anything else from you?
We have to do a quick fire, I think.
You do it.
Well, let's do the usual. So we're going to do a travel quick fire, Mike. We're going to do the top 3 countries that you've been to, top 3 favorite countries, and then the top 3 countries that even though we've talked only domestic today, we're going to talk about foreign, and then top 3 countries that you'd like to visit.
Okay. Costa Rica, number 1. Number 2, Anguilla. Number 3, Nicaragua. I like surfing. Want to visit. We're going to go to Italy this summer, spend more time there. That would be cool. I really want to go to Asia. Like my big like exit trip would be Mentawais, however you'd say it. And then number 3, the Maldives. Like the just surf, beautiful destinations that my wife would be very happy at, that I can spend my entire day surfing. That would be it.
Nice, very good.
Thanks for joining us, Mike. This has been great. I'm absolutely 1000% going to be opening up this app very soon. I'm going to try to figure out how I can plan my family vacation in September.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Been great chatting.
Thank you both. Lori and Christian, this was great.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We'll see you the next time. Bye.